It's the three Kenyans here leading the way. A little bit of...
Kenyan athletes are getting better and better, and their times are getting quicker.
It'll be a Kenyan 1-2-3, but Tirop, 8:32.21.
There are many female athletes who have a great life as a result of athletics.
Agnes Tirop takes the win and the world record.
With all the success, there also is a dark side to it. And this comes about when men in the community look at women as prey.
The sports fraternity is in mourning tonight. Our world beater Agnes Tirop was found dead today.
Agnes was found dead at her home in Iten in Elgeyo Marakwet County with a stab wound on her neck.
When you're moving into the career of athletics, you have to carefully look at who are the important people in your life. Even in a partnership, it can move into manipulation.
A lot of people let Agnes down. She felt that the threat was real. What she was told is exactly what happened to her.
Through investigating the tragedy of Agnes's murder, it sort of took the lid off a much bigger problem. I didn't think it would be so systemic. I think that's probably the most shocking part of this whole thing. Iten is a place where many, many talented athletes have come from. You see quickly it's a very tightly knit community. It's not a big place. It has a sort of sleepy, timeless feel to it. You have dozens of Olympic champions, both female and male, mostly long distance due to the high altitude. And so you get a sense that on the one hand, it's this incubator for some of Kenya's best talent, but at the same time you have this very traditional Kenyan village just going through its everyday life.
The best place for runners to train, especially the top runners, is a place where it has only about athletics. There's not much that has developed in Iten aside of producing champions, and it's conducive for elite runners because after training, there's nothing more you can do. You just have to sleep. There's nowhere you can go.
If an athlete enters Iten, they'll try and get on a local group who goes out training. You have then local trainers and international agents and trainers who are in the town talent spotting.
Muko ready? 25 kilometers. Songa kidogo mbele. 3, 2, 1, up.
Sometimes these people will get picked up by one of the top brands and they will get contracts out of these companies. And from there, their future is sort of lined out ahead of them. They get given training regimes, sometimes running 20, 25, 30K a day, and they'll be entering races and they'll have targets to meet.
So athletes out on the track with a little bit of wind getting up there. One of the main threats to Iberi. Tirop from Kenya.
Agnes was a friend, and most of all, she was a really, really admired athlete.
Tirop, 22 years old, leading the way.
I felt like running was her outlet. Whenever she was out there, she was unstoppable.
But Tirop's going to take the win. Good finishing this from Tirop.
She just felt herself. She felt some sort of freedom, and that is what she really loved doing.
And no wonder she's smiling. That is another win for Agnes Tirop. And it did look to me...
She was super fun to be around, so kind. Just this human being who seems to have this energy that draws people to her.
Nilikuja hapa kukimbia sio ya mwisho. alafu niende back to training, niende ni focus Olympics. Unajua Olympics si rahisi, hata mimi naenda kufocus for now.
Agnes, huwa nakumbuka tukikuja shule. Shule yenye tulikuwa tungeenda ni 5 kilometers away from penye tulikuwa tukiishi. So ilikuwa inabidi tukimbie mpaka nyumbani, tukule lunch, tukimbie tena tukirudi mpaka shule. Hapo ndio tukagundua tuko na talent. Yeah.
Tuna watoto 10. Lakini Agnes ni namba 7. Alikuwa anapenda kukimbia sana. Na yeye alipenda kuongea na sisi tena. Na alipenda sisi tena.
Agnes alikuwa mtoto mpole. Hakukuwa na maneno mingi, lakini alikuwa anapenda kutasamu na kuongea tu na marafiki zake. Ilikuwa mtoko, yeye akaanza kukimbia tu mdogo. Lakini yeye alikuwa anashindana na watu wakubwa na alikuwa anashinda.
I met Agnes for the first time back in 2011. She was just very young and she was tiny.
In high school, we're not allowed to have long hair. So she had her hair shaved. I was like, oh my God, who brought this little girl to a professional event?
We were asking ourselves, where is this baby going? Who is she going to run with?
We were warming up together and she's running barefoot. And I'm like, where's your shoes? She's like, in the bag.
She was running barefoot. She didn't even have spikes. But what shocked us more is running barefoot and also winning.
She won the race. And I was like, what? This little girl really beat me. I could not believe it. I just admired her for the athlete that she was. She's always dedicated.
Juu tulikuwa tukitrain naye. Akienda ku competition ndio nilikuwa na imani atashinda. Maisha ilikuwa ngumu zaidi. That's why tuliamua tukimbie ndio sasa tubadilishe maisha. Tubadilishe maisha.
You happen to be in an area of Kenya that's iconic for women athletes. I don't think there's any other little centre in the world can compare. Of course I'm biased.
It's not easy. You're in a tough sport. Now is the time to lay your foundation. We want you to learn about the sport. This is not just a training camp, this is a learning camp.
I arrived first to Iten in 1976. Iten, of course, at that time was a very small centre, nothing like it is today. There was no electricity, running water, no telephone, but it was a place that had, I suppose, potential in a sense. I set up my first exclusive women's training group in 1989. So girls could gradually be mentored to see a career in sports, not just getting married and being housewives. Women were coming into leadership roles. Women were becoming highly educated. It was a whole movement that was going on at the time. So I kind of tried athletics, hoping that it would keep pace with those changes that were happening in the wider world of women in Kenya, and maybe women in general.
When you wear spike shoes, you have to get used to them. So you have to use them. Don't just keep them for competition. It will hurt your feet in places. So when we go to track on Friday, you should be trying your spikes.
Athletics was seen as a way forward. It was a way of making money, it was a way of having a career, and in some cases it was a way of education and travel. Kenyan women look up to the athletes as breaking barriers and showing a way forward for women.
I started running back in 2010. I wanted just to have a scholarship to travel and go to America. For me to board a plane was like the talk of the village. So I was so excited. When I got my first earning from a race was $500. I could not sleep. I could wake up the whole night checking if I still have it. I was so excited, and I did not know even what to do because it was too much for me. I have changed my life through running, and it doesn't matter where I came from, but I'm a different person.
Agnes met Ibrahim Ratish when she was in secondary school. She was very young, but she was already running and getting fantastic results. Ratish came from a poor family. He was one of many children, but he grew up in this community of runners, but without himself having any formal training, either as a runner or as a trainer. Ibrahim had spotted her talent and became interested in her and offered to be her coach. Agnes, being very young, accepted, and they sparked up a relationship.
And I would also wish to inform our spectators who are here today
Unajua Agnes hakusema ukweli tuko na huyu mtu. Hakukuambia. Lakini mbeleni Agnes alipisha akasema huyu mtu ni mtu ya nilitafuta kuendesea mimi kari.
Akiwa mdogo sana. Watu kujua wameshikana ikatorosha tu hata tukujua mahali walienda.
I think in the early days of their relationship, there was certainly a bond between them. They were a team. He would involve himself in her training. He would shout times out the window. They made plans together. They got a plot of land together. He knew she was a good runner. And this is really one of the main reasons people think he became interested in her. He saw her as a way out for himself.
This guy saw an opportunity in a young girl who had talent, and he decided to isolate her from the family. That way he can take advantage of her as an innocent young girl. And that's how it starts.
When I was reporting in Iten, it became clear that a lot of the young women and future stars that are coming into the town, at this point, they just don't have the means to actually train and survive in a dignified way sometimes. So they can very often fall into the trap of depending on a man, in some cases a coach, who is providing them maybe with shoes, perhaps some shelter or some food, just the basic things that they need to really make it. Before they know it, if they do succeed, they're all of a sudden almost belonging to the man and unable to control their earnings and to basically take hold of their own life.
Most coaches are not certified by the federations. Many of the female runners are being abused by their coaches, are being taken advantage of. First, because they are young. Second is because they don't know their rights. And coaches try to manipulate athletes by giving them maybe a pair of shoes or connecting them with agents. Remember, these girls are from really humble backgrounds.
They have identified a young girl who has talent and can be a champion. They tell her, I'm going to provide you with these opportunities. You're going to have an agent and I'm going to coach you and you're going to be great. By that time, they've been intimidated, they've been coerced to do a lot of things. And at that point, these young girls can't say anything.
There are men, if I could use the phrase, lurking around, and they're prepared to cash in on somebody else's efforts and energies. They're opportunists. They see this as a way of enhancing themselves, as a way of getting on in life themselves. As you become a successful person, you're an easy target.
Tulikutana na yeye akaniambia nataka kunisaidia kimazoezi. So mimi nikafikiri ni mtu mzuri, sikujua kama kuna anything alikuwa anataka kwangu. Nilikuwa nikienda races, pesa inaingia bank. Nienda naye account. Napata account ametoa pesa zote. Alikuwa ananichapa sometimes. Alafu anafika mahali ana apologize, anaomba msamaha. Mimi sikuambia kitu mtu Kenya nilikuwa napita.
Ringera in pursuit. Into the home straight, and Tirop, has she got another gear? She's opening up a bit of a
In 2020, it became clear Agnes was really shooting up the rankings, doing very, very well. She was competing all over Europe, Asia. She'd been to the Olympics, and this coincided with when things in a relationship between Agnes and Ibrahim started going badly wrong. There was disputes over who controlled the money, over who had access to bank cards. Ibrahim Rutish would beat her, and on one occasion he had really badly injured Agnes's leg, which she then had to go to Italy for to get treatment. When she came back from the Tokyo Olympics, things got so bad that Agnes eventually left the family home, and she went to live in a runner's camp just down the road.
Akaniambia nimeamua niende nyumbani na niachane na hii jamaa. Huyu jamaa ana waste pesa yangu na yeye afanye chochote kwanza. To mean, huyu jamaa alikuwa na target ya kujua fiti ya Agnes. Hakuwa akitaka relationship.
So we're just over 5 minutes away from the coverage of this Adizero Roads to Record race series. 4 laps around the Adidas World Headquarters.
A big hand of applause, please, for Agnes Tirop.
Agnes had a contract going with the global sports brand Adidas. You can earn over $1 million in a year through various contracts and awards and winnings on the track.
And Shayla and Agnes are right in front.
Adidas Roads to Records is the event that Adidas athletes go to the headquarters to run. I arrived there, I think a day before Agnes came in, and she came in the evening. She was really, really happy. She had her earphones on, which was something I had never seen her with. She had her nails done, and she was looking really pretty. So I was just thinking, wow, she has come out of her shell. Now she's just being free.
Agnes and Sheila doing a bit more than having a stroll, these two, because they're operating.
We were in the stands with other friends watching her.
And she's just opening up half a stride here and there. It looks like
the announcer kept saying, she's under the world record, she's still under the world record.
Is Tirop going away? You can see her grimacing.
We were like, oh my God, is she going to get it? And now everybody's just going crazy.
The world record, which has stood for 19 years at 30.29, is going to be smashed. Agnes Tirop takes the win and the world record.
Breaking the world record was just that moment that every athlete dreams of. She could not believe it.
There it is, a new women's world record at 10K for Agnes Tirop. 30.01, the official time.
When she crossed the line, she said, I promised you, and I have done it. She was just so happy.
I thank Sheila, I thank my athletes, and I want to thank Adidas for making their good goals.
Everyone was so happy. First, me personally, because I knew her in person. Second is because she was sponsored by Adidas. She had broken up with her husband, and I felt like she was a different woman. She had plaited her hair, and she could wear lipstick, she could wear makeup, you know. You could see the change in her, just knowing herself as a woman, just like discovering herself. It was really nice.
You haven't just beaten it, you have smashed the world record. That is extraordinary.
Yeah, I'm happy for being a world record holder. I'm so happy for it.
5 weeks later, she was killed. Just 5 weeks before Tirop was murdered, she had come back to Iten to train more. There is a huge push from Ibrahim Rotich to make contact with Agnes. Ibrahim sends a friend of his to the running camp where Agnes is staying to persuade her to come home and talk things out. And Agnes then, the following day, collects her belongings from the running camp and goes back to her family home with Ibrahim. But after they get there, tensions once again arise. There's audible fighting from outside the house because her sister, Eve, hears it. There's then a lull, and in the morning, Agnes is supposed to be training with her pacemaker. She doesn't turn up. She's never missed a training session. Her phone is off. They can't get through. By the afternoon, everyone's wondering where on earth is Agnes.
Nikapata phone call from the younger sister Eve. Akaniambia si hapa kuna mambo yenye inaenda iende vizuri. Nikajaribu kufungua gate, iko locked. Tukakaa kidogo, tulikuwa tunapigia wazazi simu.
Akapigia, ai, simu yake haingii. Na Ibrahim amesema ati wameenda Nairobi. Basi tukaenda tu kwa ripoti kwa polisi. Ni kitu kama, ilikuwa kitu kama saa 2. Wakaambia, hey, saa hii imekuwa usiku, lakini muende mulale, alafu mkuje kesho yake.
Hatukulala, tulikaa chini mpaka asubuhi. Kufika asubuhi, tukakuja na polisi, tukafungua gate.
Tukaenda tukakata kivuli ya nini ya gate. Tukaenda tukakata hiyo ya meza. Kuingia tu kwa meza hivi, askari nasema, ngojeni kwanza. Kumbe ameona tamu.
Bedroom ilikuwa locked. Tukatoka wote, tukaenda hapo pia nyuma ya nyumba. Juu dirisha ilikuwa juu kidogo, ikabidi sasa mtu aninue ndio nichungulie kama kuna mtu. Kufungua dirisha hivi, nikapata Agnes ashakufa.
Lakini iko maneno ambayo ilitoka kwa jamii ya bwana yake Tirop, ambao walisema ya kwamba bwana alikuwa amepigia wasasi akilia, akiwaelezea kwamba Mungu amsamehe, iko kitu ambayo amefanya.
While all of this was happening, Ibrahim Rutish had taken a car and had driven towards Mombasa, which is the big city on Kenya's coast. He's in a state of, I think, shock, grief. He makes a call to his brother where he admits to what he's done. There was a manhunt on for Ibrahim Rutish at this point. There was police cars sent out looking for him, and eventually he became aware and handed himself into police.
Prime suspect in the brutal murder of Olympic athlete and former world cross-country champion Agnes Tirop has been arrested in Mombasa. Ibrahim Rutish, who is also the husband of the deceased, was arrested by detectives in Changamwe alongside a friend said to have been trying to sneak him out of the country.
Everybody was feeling the same. It was a shock. You speak to people and everybody was numb. Nobody wants to go for a run. It felt like something that could happen to you anytime.
I was still in denial. I could not believe what happened. I could not even move. I could not even run. I just kept telling myself why I didn't talk to her, what was happening in her life. It was not easy.
The day before her funeral, we went to her village. We did a church service, and I was just told to speak on behalf of athletes. And I don't know where the strength came from. I think I was really angry. I didn't think Agnes was supposed to be buried at 25 years old.
Today I'm here because of one issue. This gender-based violent issue.
Everything I said was just probably out of frustration and anger and not wanting to believe that that could happen to anybody like Agnes.
We're putting our sister to rest, but we are also here to raise our voices. We need to be heard as women. We need people to understand that we are not tools. We are not anyone's property.
She did not fear anybody. She talked directly to the federation, the people who could have done something when Agnes was alive. and they didn't do, people could have done something.
If you're not going to do anything for me, for my sister, for my mother, and the generation to come, please go home.
When it comes to gender-based violence in Kenya, I think there's a sense of it's happening in the family, keep it in the family. People have this idea that the regulations aren't there, but the regulations are there. The issue becomes how many people are aware of the human rights they're entitled to. So I think it's more of a lack of education and possibly even fear that if I take this person to court, I'm going to be ostracized from my community. And there's only, I think, so much that you can do until you're just physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted.
In Kenya, a man is looked as the perfect human being. He doesn't make mistakes. So whenever there is disagreements, there are fights in families, women are the ones who are being told to change the way they are doing things. The culture itself has allowed gender-based violence to be normalized. So when that happens, nobody is reacting because today is happening to me, the following day it's somebody else, so nobody thinks it's a problem until somebody loses their lives.
Immediately after Agnes's death, there was a sense that this was a freak event. But 6 months later, another Kenyan athlete was also murdered in her home in Iten.
Police have today recovered the body of a Kenyan Bahrainian athlete, Damaris Muthe Mutua, at a house that's in Iten in Elgeyo Marakwet. A killing comes months after another athlete, Agnes Tirop, was found dead in a bedroom in Iten.
With 2 high-profile murders in the space of 6 months, the entire community was in disbelief. These shocking events really shed light on the wider problem.
Life is precious. Apart from money, fame, and everything, there is life to live.
We are going to talk to women across the country so that it doesn't happen again to one of us. We are so pained, we feel terrible.
Since the 2 deaths, there have been more complaints vis-a-vis domestic abuse, theft. People were pretty shocked.
We decided that it's not going to happen to any other girl. It was a wake-up call.
Huyu jamaa ananiambia sometimes, ananiambia hebu ujiangalie kwa kioo. Nafikiri uko smart sana. Sikujua nilioa shetani kama wewe. Sometimes ananiweka teke, nina fly, naenda naanguka huko hivyo. Anifurutia chini, ananitupa kwa nyumba. Kwa sababu aliniambia ukiniacha nitakumaliza. Nikawaza nitafanya nini? Kwa sababu kuna mtu mwingine angenisaidia. Nilikuwa na sometimes nasikia tu nipige nduru tu. Ibidi tu nitoroke sasa. Kaambia John kila kitu, akanisaidia. Kidogo sasa ndiye akaniingiza Tirop Angels.
Hello. Kina mama oi. Kina mama hi.
Together with the family of Agnes, me and my friends, we decided to form this NGO and we named it Tirop Angels to eradicate gender-based violence. My name is Joan Chelimo Meli. I am one of the founders of Tirop Angels. I am a long-distance runner and I'm so happy. Kwanza vile tumecheza hivi. Nimesikia magoti. We go to the villages, we educate, we go to athletic camps. We also visit schools And for us to change culture, we have to start with the young generation.
Gender-based violence is about power and control. Tuseme, gender-based violence is about? It's about power and control.
In the past, you would find most female athletes, their money was taken away by their husbands. Now things have changed because we are making all the agents to send the money to the athletes, and we encourage them to have their own bank accounts. They are working hard for their money. It's not that they are being given money for free. They run, they compete, and they get paid for what is rightfully theirs.
Nimejaribu kuongelesha wasichana wengine. Nimemwambia wasichana, unajua hawa ni nyang'ao. Yenye nakuja kusema mimi nataka kuoa, lakini hakuna kuoa. Nataka tu pesa yako. Mkienda kazi ya kwenda kukimbia, mkimbie kwa nguvu zenyu na mkae kwa nini, kwa heshima.
Today, if one girl is being abused in Iten, they will call Tirop Angels. Years back, that would not happen, and that's why Agnes was murdered.
We are just here to share and grow together and live a healthy life. Sawa sawa. Thank you so much.
Adidas is working with Tirop's Angels, and I would hope that by them partnering with a foundation, they've recognized that there is an issue.
In general, staff from Adidas headquarters, they don't often put their feet on the ground in Iten. They're a little bit distanced from the whole thing. And so it's a little bit hard to know how much Adidas knew about the situation that their athlete was in. Adidas are making a lot of money from these athletes in sponsorship deals, so it does raise the question, to what extent are the big sporting brands responsible at least for the well-being of their signed athletes, considering how much benefit they're getting through exposure, branding of their gear, and all these things that goes hand in hand with an athlete's contract.
For them, they might feel like I have no obligation to this person. It's a product. It's someone to push a product. That's it. It's a face, it's a name. Without really recognizing at the end of the day, this is a person that will be affected. Of course, they can argue that if they're not being informed of it, how could they possibly know?
Here we have reams of court documents, and they've formed a really key part of the investigation into Agnes Tirop's death. They include everything from affidavits, witness statements, right through to details about Agnes's life, how she grew up, who she was, and the same for the defendant. So here we have the defendant's statement to police, which was drafted on the 7th of November 2021, very shortly after she had been killed. It goes into a lot of detail here about how the murder actually took place. Since this statement was given to police, this has been retracted. He is now trying to get a manslaughter case and has entered into a so-called plea bargain where he's trying to change essentially the charges. Here we have one of the most telling passages in this document entitled Findings, where after Agnes comes back from the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, it states that she actually reported an assault to her manager and her family. So this is key because we can see that Agnes actually did tell people around her, including her manager, about the domestic abuse and the violence that she had faced at home. And so it begs the question, why wasn't more done to protect her in the subsequent weeks and months leading up to her death?
I believe agents and coaches don't want this information to get to the management because they don't want to present their athletes as problematic. Nobody wants to be forwarding issues to a brand about an athlete who is making a lot of money through a company. they would feel that this affects their future contract. So I believe that's the fear. But as a coach and someone who has worked with Agnes from day one, her agent, he should have been the first person to protect her.
Hi, Jenny. Just to touch briefly on Agnes, obviously you know I've been writing about her a lot. Can you go over what she told you about her particular situation and what you knew about the troubles in her marriage?
When I give an advice, I think that would be a good advice because I'm thinking and I'm looking the best for an athlete to have a long career, especially Agnes was a very talented athlete. When she went to this man, they were living together. And I met him and her. My impression of him was only that he was taking advantage of her. I told her, please, I don't like the way that he's treating you. She told me, don't enter in my family affair. You are my agent, be my agent. This is my life, okay? I cannot do anything if somebody tell me like that.
Was there any point that you had thought of telling Adidas about what had happened?
No, because it was not happening anything. I mean that there was no any situation that was aggressive, you know. And the companies are not involved. You have a wrong idea of a company. A company is signing athletes. It's signing athletes according to the results of the athletes. It's not investigating what is the background or what is behind an athlete. And if you are able to show them that you are able to produce results, they are happy.
Some people close to Agnes, people who ran with her or her friends or family, have told us that they think her manager, her representation could have done more to help her, considering what they knew. I just wondered what you say to that.
No, I'm sorry. This is completely wrong. It's very easy to talk after. There was no sensation that she was in danger. We never had the sensation that somebody can kill her. I don't know what I could do and what was the situation. I am very, very okay with my conscience and my feeling, you know.
I begin with criminal case number 65 of 2021, Ibrahim Kipyamoi Rajich alias Madu.
Now there's been a discussion. We're not agreeable to their terms. For their first term that we're not agreeable to was they wanted to reduce the charge from murder to manslaughter. We're not agreeable to that. And despite him being an accused person, he still has rights. It's for that reason that the matter has been delayed for the year, but we are moving forward. According to the family, they only want justice to be done of what transpired. They only want justice to be done according to the law.
Nataka hiyo kesi iharakishwe. Mama imemaliza karibu mara mbili sasa. Naona sasa pesa mingi bado hapa naye.
Hiyo pesa ni yake ni.
Pesa yenye natumia sasa ni hiyo ya marehemu. Yenye hiyo pesa yenye naangaisha sisi ni hiyo pesa.
Kwa mimi mama, mimi nasikia uchungu zaidi. Hata kufunga, mimi naona kama anapona. Na sijasahau hiyo msichana mpaka saa hii. Mimi nakumbuka yeye usiku na mchana.
I believe a lot of women, especially athletes in Kenya, are suffering in silence. I would really love for women to realize that it doesn't matter what you're going through now. What you went through in the past, you can still share with somebody, and that changes a lot.
I'm so happy to put a smile again on their faces. And I'm very sure Agnes is more proud wherever she is of what we are doing. These women, we keep reminding them that they are strong women and they will make it. So we are so proud of them. We are so proud of ourselves. We are going to change more lives.